It's so annoying because I've been writing so much recently, and every time I think of doing this kind of sit down video and talking for no one really except myself. Oh, there's a woodpecker, sorry. When I actually sit down and do this, it's like I get a mind blank and I don't remember what I wanted to say. And then I start questioning if any of it has any meaning, which ultimately it does not. And yeah. People always try to convince me and tell me that being human is a gift, that life is a gift, and frankly I don't know if I agree with that still. I mean, life is a gift. I don't know if living is, or living as a human being is. And I've noticed the only times that I enjoy life is when I'm invisible, when I forget that I'm a human being, that I exist. Moments when you're so taken by wonder and the beauty of life, the beauty of nature, and the beauty of other beings, other human beings, other animals, or just life itself, enjoying itself. That's what makes me overjoyed. And that only happens when I completely erase myself and forget that I exist. I say all this to perhaps reach out to any other people who perhaps feel the same, that I've tried to see it from every perspective. I'm dying to see how it can possibly be that being human is a gift, and that it's not something to be ashamed of. I am ashamed of being human. Maybe I've said this before, I can't even remember, but I am ashamed of being human, and nobody can really take that from me. I take a certain pride, I guess, in being ashamed of being human, and I find that it helps me in its protective mechanism from getting attached to living and getting attached to all that is the human body, all that is the human experience with all its luxuries. And I know I sit here and from a very privileged, but I hate even saying that because it's like, what the fuck is privilege? Like, who am I to be saying that my experience is privileged or I'm lucky? There's the idea of superiority behind that, so I don't even want to say that. I've been given this life for whatever reason, in whatever part of the world that I'm in, with the freedoms that I have and the freedoms that I've granted to myself. And I'm tired of feeling guilty for that freedom, knowing that other people could be suffering and that are suffering, but in it's a world that I would perhaps never know. And then, sorry, I'm just like rambling. Sorry, because I was going to take this down like the road of like politics and the fact that I'm completely apolitical. I can't, it's just my nature. I have no interest in politics whatsoever, and I feel that even if I had a political opinion, that wouldn't change a single thing in this planet. But then people say that like politics is the personal, and eventually politics, even if you don't care about it, you will care about it at some point. And there's so many people who advocate for things, who are activists and who fight for change, and I am so in admiration and respect of those people. But I can't be that person. I don't know. And one could say that that's cowardice, or that's lazy, but mostly cowardice, to not go out and fight for change. But I don't. I just see it as something very. I'm not trying to minimize what people or reduce what people who active what like advocate for things and who go to demonstrations and stuff, I will always have admiration, but I don't find how. But I guess that is what creates change. But I guess I don't have hope or faith in humanity in the long run. I feel like even if there's progress, there's always a relapse, and what's the point? A lot of a lot of the things I think about, it's fundamentally it comes down to that. What's the point? And even if I have days of joy and I see humanity and humans and the human experience from a joyful stance, I'm still I'm not attached to that joy. I see it very much as a play at a theatre, and eventually that play stops, the show ends, and you're just left staring at a stage, and the stage of the stage for me at least is all the thoughts of what's the point and why we're here again, and shouldn't I be doing something better with my life, and again, what's the point if this all ends and blah blah blah. And it can be heavy, but it can be liberating as a thought as well. But most of the time it's a heavy one, and I have to sit with it, and I have to cradle it in times of. It normally comes about in times of boredom, and again, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares. But I'm out here doing this, whatever. It doesn't matter. No, it's because when I remember that people are watching this or could be watching this, I'm just like, what am I actually doing with my life? And I guess those are the thoughts that also perpetuate the whole insecurity of not doing enough with my life and questioning what the fuck my purpose is. And when I'm living my life, I don't actually give a fuck about any purpose. I'm just out here existing until I die. But when those nihilistic thoughts do come through, it's very much a case of I've realised that those thoughts are always going to be there, that they're a part of me, and they're not shakeable, and I'm not trying to outrun them, and I never have, because I know the things that we suppress and repress will always come back and always stronger. So I just embrace them when they come through. But it's it does feel like a heavy sort of suffering in those times. I know it perhaps comes from a place of lack of gratitude and a lack of having things to do. But nonetheless, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who has these thoughts. And it's just you're kind of sat there wondering, am I just going through the motions of life, occasionally bumping into joy, occasionally bumping into moments of passion and understanding oh, this is what life could be like, or perhaps should be like, but then always reverting back to and coming home to those thoughts of meaninglessness, and you're kind of left wondering, am I just going through this constant up and down, just to get to the gift of death? Because I could, of course, get rid of myself, but that is such a responsibility that I feel shouldn't be played with. I feel I've said all this before, and who's everyone except me? Anyways, the point is, in those times I'm no way, I'm just waiting for death during this whole experience, so that I can finally be at peace and finally unattached from these nihilistic thoughts. What is life? Just going through random meaningless actions and motions just to get to death? And that's a painful thought as well. But I've had this thought so much now that it's I've made my peace with it, and once I'm in a more neutral, peaceful state, it doesn't really shake me as much. Like right now I'm fine, but I am very well aware that someday it will return and I'll be back in that slump, and I just have to accept it and embrace it and unconditionally love it as you would a child, or like anything really, anyone, because everyone deserves to be held and understood and heard and listened to and loved. But we can offer that to ourselves to start with. Anyways, so yeah, it's kind of just like humiliating to, bump into those thoughts again. Don't you just love it when anyways, whatever. But yeah, in regards to being ashamed of being a human, everyone's like, oh, but there's so much good that we've done. It's like, or like human evolution and it's like humans are animals, but their brain is so complex that they've managed to create these things, and it's like, okay, cool, but that's only respectable and only admirable, and it seems fantastic or whoa only from the human perspective. Birds don't give a fuck about like the buildings we've built or the newest technology or fucking I don't know what else, right? They don't care about any of this. We go to space and it only means something to us, like humans. Space is just out there still existing and like completely indifferent to our evolution or evolutions or newest discoveries or whatnot. And it's like, it's always driven, like this whole like evolution mindset is so driven by the need and want for more, to prove something to oneself that it's okay and the justification for existence. And I just find that so silly and laughable and hysterical, really. Just as the people who do believe that humans are like whoa and amazing and we should be having as many humans as possible and blah blah blah, right? Just as those humans think that my version of existence is also lame, is laughable, silly, and frankly ridiculous. Any way of living as a human is ridiculous, and I guess we have that freedom, and there's no point in seeing things so seriously, as somebody recently told me. Yeah, I did recently bump into a human being. Well, I keep bumping into him. And yeah, we got communicating, and yeah, he said something about like one can laugh at those thoughts, like the nihilistic thoughts and just anything going on in society. The good with the bad, the chaos, the calm, and the fact that all of this is like happening at the same time. It is laughable. And one can, instead of indulging and dwelling and drowning in the more negative thoughts, you can just choose to step aside from them, look at them, and you can hold them as I do, or you can laugh at them as the guy that I spoke with recommended to me. So I'm trying to see things like that more, because why take life so seriously, I guess. Yep. And I guess that also goes with like the fact that I'm ashamed to be human. I guess it doesn't have to be that serious, but it's, I know it's simple, but, or maybe it seems like nothing, but for example, I always take the bus into town. So I live in a little village and it's like 30 minutes from town, and we live out in nature, in the countryside, and then the bus, the bus goes through, like, from our village into town. It's like it goes from nature gradually into more buildings and then the urban. And, you know, seeing that transition for me is very, I feel like I'm, you know, that's how the day will go. Like, I'm going from calm to I'll be busy, I'll be active, I'll be doing stuff, and I love that. And then I always love the journey back as well. It's like a kind of a calming, a calm dissension from the chaos of constant activity and constantly being busy. So in the city I'm always busy, and then take the bus back in the evening, and I watch essentially how my day went, like from being very busy, very cluttered, very active, to gradually there's less and less houses and more fields. And once we get to those fields, I can finally breathe, and I feel the view is beautiful. And wait 1 second. So gradually you see more fields, and it's a space to breathe finally after the long day. And those fields are now being built upon. Okay, it's not all of the fields, but it's like, it was like just to see like openness being stripped, like open fields of green and like of life, you know, just being stripped to like the soil, and the humans just walking around with their fucking like bulldozers and whatnot, their fucking machines on that land, ready to like convert it into whatever idea of evolution that they decided to place upon that land that did not ask for it. And the thing is, it's like the local people of like that community in that village who lived there, they were notified about that land it's gonna be built upon, and they were like, please make any what's the word, not petitions, what's the word, like, I don't know, like any comments, or like if you have any arguments against this movement to go through, for this construction to go through, please comment to the, like, write emails to the council. And so many of us wrote letters and emails to the council against that that field and that land being built upon, and of course they just went ahead and fucking did it anyway, you know, like, so it's like, it just like hurts, you know, because like it doesn't really matter like what you do. You can try, but it's like it's futile anyway, because those with money will just go ahead and stamp on what you did anyways and just decide what they want to do anyways, you know. Maybe I'm just butthurt, but I guess I'm just a sensitive human being, sensitive soul to this kind of stuff. And I don't like seeing, because, you know, nature, I mean, it's not defenseless. I constantly wish for nature to take its revenge against humans and humankind. When I was like 12, I don't know what it was, I like a little conker. I found a little conker and I threw it into the river. But it was like making a wish kind of thing. And my wish was like, please, like, take revenge on humankind. And that was when I was like 12, I think. 11 or 12. So I haven't changed since then. All I want is for like nature to take back its place. I don't know why we were like even put here, except I feel like our only duty is to enjoy life and enjoy the beauty of nature and stuff like that, you know, and for us to die and be forgotten, not for us to like, I don't know. because like nature and life is all about balance, balancing the good with the bad. I don't know about the ideas of good and bad. I feel like that's quite subjective, even though there's moral ideas of what is good and bad. But yeah, anyways, the point is there's always balance in nature, and but I feel like humans try to divide themselves from nature, separate themselves from nature, forget that they came from nature and are a part of it, and they try to become these like aliens who like were just placed on Earth, and now because they fear its uncertainty, its unpredictability, and its power over us, or they perceive it as power over us. So they other nature, and they try to, like, as they do with women, domesticate it and like control it and try to understand it so they can control it, you know, like, and that's why they built like whatever societies we're in and buildings, and they try. I don't know. I'll just shut up. But like, humans' ultimate fear is nature taking over, and nature's ultimate power and force. It's humble, quiet, modest force that is never unshakable, unwavering. Sorry, I'm talking so much. And yeah, I don't know. I just want humans to like feel like knowing the circumstance of things and that climate change is going to come around, which is, I would argue, nature's way of like getting back at us, as it should. I feel like since that is inevitable, our only choice is to enjoy life while it's beautiful, while we still have it, while it's not quite yet taken revenge over us, and enjoy it so much that at any point that we're like life is stripped away from us, and perhaps that we're forced into a way of survival rather than living, which we are now, our only choice is to enjoy it, and as if it's our only duty, and choose to see the beauty and choose love every single day, and to create innocent things and share stories with one another and choose open-mindedness, and I don't know, small useless change like that, and just live in ways that would inspire you. Live in a way that inspires yourself, and perhaps that could inspire others, but you don't do it for the possibility of inspiring someone. You just do it for you. Everything you do is for you, but with the mindset of love and peace in mind. I no longer live for happiness, because I feel like happiness is something that can always be stripped away, and it's very much a state, and that is, in my opinion, temporary, before boredom comes around or before change comes around. And you can't be happy in change, like you can be, but like most likely you're going to be surprised by change, and I would rather choose a state of peace, which is so neutral that it works in every scenario, in joy and grief, in sadness, in anger, and in times of change, times of chaos. You can understand that your body is the only thing that connects you to this world, but you are ultimately the watcher, the observer. You're here to, like, I don't know what, there's no reason for you to be here, but you're just here, right? And the only thing that calls you to this world is your body, and even that's not yours. It's just an expression of you, and yeah, you must treat your body with as much respect as you would a stranger's body, and Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to lecture, and also because everyone has the right to live their life in the way that they wish to. I just, I don't know, I just felt like saying whatever the fuck I just said, right? But yeah, going back to like, learning to have confidence in the way I live and learning to allow myself to enjoy life, it's been quite a path. Because I guess I took that away from myself. Like, I had this same sort of relationship with myself. Oh, ow, what the fuck was that? Because, like, last year was a moment of grief. Like, the whole of last year from it literally took a year. Let's say from March or April to this April. That was a whole year of personal grief. Maybe not suffering, but grief of self. And I had chosen to invite that grief into myself. I had chosen grief. I don't know, like, over, I guess, nothing. Because I decided to put myself on the path of love because I thought that that's what I needed to go through / go down, because that's the path that everybody else seemed to be praising. The path that I was originally on, which is that of self-love and self-devotion and not letting anybody in physically and emotionally and intimately in any way possible. That path nobody really resonated with, nobody really understood, or I had yet to meet people who did resonate with that path. Everybody was either in couples and I don't know, anyways. But my ultimate fear when it came to love, romantic love, was losing myself to love or to them, which did end up happening. And I was forced to confront my fear. I had manifested that into existence because my belief is that anything that you fear you attract, like, so that you can face it, confront it, learn from it and move on. And that's ultimately what happened. But it was, sometimes I wondered, did I really need to go through that? But now I'm kind of like, I don't really care if it's happened now. And yeah, like, okay. And my biggest fear has now been and gone. And I know the ins and outs of it now. Losing yourself is a decision. Self is a constantly reconstructing and constantly changing and fluid idea and concept. So there is no such thing as losing that. It's only ever changing. And hold on. And I don't like this lighting that's constantly changing, but not much I can do about that. What losing myself looked like, if we're talking literally, was meeting up with somebody completely aware of the fact that I did not want to, or a big part of me was like, I'm not gonna go, and then in the end feeling obliged / out of pity for the other person having to go through rejection, I went against myself. getting a big sign from the universe, because I ask for the universe for signs, and I take the signs all the time. And this time, I did not even ask for it. I got a sign, and the biggest sign I could have ever gotten, and I wanted to not trust it, so I shared it with that person. The person, they were like, they made me distrust the way I communicated with life and source and the universe. They just made it seem like, oh, that kind of stuff just happens. So there's that. So ignoring the way that I communicate with myself and my intuition. And then, well, at that point, because I had severed the connection I had with Source, because I was not going to be listening to its signs from that point on, because I had ignored a sign that I didn't even ask for, because normally I ask for signs, I receive signs, I take them. This time, it was like such a red flag that it was just like, as I was going to meet this guy for the first time, for the first time after we had like met each other, basically like, yeah, on my way there, I had my laptop in my bag, so on my laptop is all my work, all my art, all my pieces, like everything on there, right? And my dissertation at the time. And that was in my bag. And I was on the bus to go meet him, even though I was doing it reluctantly, but I was kind of like, oh, it's fine, I'll just go. I'll go once, I'll go twice, and then I'll cut him off. That was my usual shtick. And then I put my hand in my bag to like go get something from my bag, and I just feel water and like a lot of fucking water just building up in my bag, and my laptop's in there, right? So I pull everything out, laptop first and whatever else next. And it's just water sitting in my fucking bag, like my whole bottle had spilt in there, which never fucking happens, like never. And I was like, well, if that's not the biggest sign to not go / just this ain't it, then I don't know what is. And I told him that when I did end up going, and he was like, oh, this kind of stuff just happens and blah 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 and this, that and the other. So, and I wanted to not trust myself, I guess. So I wanted to lose myself, or I wanted to know what it meant to lose myself, and therefore I did. I followed that path. And Jesus Christ, I can't do shit in this house. Anyways, so yeah, I guess it was the path I had to take, and after I had severed my trust in my intuition, in myself, listening to myself, listening to the universe, that was it. I had already, from the get-go, from the day that I met him, I even hesitating to give him my number and all this, that was a sign of me not wanting to, and I just went head first. I just wanted, I guess, I don't know, I just was so stubborn at that point, that I was just like, I just wanted to know. My mindset was very much beyond. I was scared shitless the whole time. Every time I was at his place or with him alone in private rather than in public, my whole body was frozen, terrified, again, ignoring my body and its communications. I had learned a little. Now, why are you, like, out of all places, why do humans decide to walk towards, like, the very place that I'm fucking sitting at anyways? Can we stop looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyways, yeah, because before him I had learnt this, I had learned this, not a technique, but I learnt from life that when you're scared, you can choose to, I don't know if I've talked about this before, but be aware of the fact that you're scared of something in a given moment. Be like, okay, I'm scared. That's okay. But let me put my fear aside and choose neutrality and face the situation head on. And that's what I used in the times when my body was literally trembling with fear or with pain or whatnot, or with just like, it was literally trying to communicate, like, get away from me. And but my mind was so like blank and fixated on a goal, which I don't even know what the goal was. I think it was more like, it was something like, let me go through this fear to see if love is behind it, or like if love is beyond fear, if I can choose to love beyond, or like there will be love beyond me putting myself into a situation that I don't want to be in with this guy, going to places that I've never been by myself with a guy I barely know. Like, I don't know, like, what was, thankfully he was a decent guy, right? But if it wasn't, like, I could have been putting myself into grave danger, you know? And I was just ignoring absolutely every ounce of help that was given to me by my body trying to communicate things, by life trying to send signs, and just even me simply not wanting to initiate anything with him. And yet I went through with it. But hey, it's happened now. I went into a spiral of regret and grief because of that, and that's what caused that grief of the year of grief. That again, nobody cares about. Anyways, but yeah, all that to say that I never did lose myself, because in those low points of realizing that, you know, I was betraying myself, I eventually did choose myself, because deep down I knew that this man and no other person in this life can ever give me. I can learn from people, but they will never give me the sort of love that the rich, deep, true, unconditional love of me that I can offer to myself. So nothing can compare to that. My love is here, and anything is anywhere between there. Like, nothing touches that. It's unshakable. So, you know, and now I'm actually having traversed all that, and I'm actually back to the version that I used to be before I met him, that I thought and I was convinced that I lost. So it feels so good to, you know, be reading my old journals and reading my thoughts from before I ever met like anyone, and being like, holy shit, I still think the same way. Like, nothing has changed. In my opinion, nothing will change, and even if it does, you know what I mean, like, there's no such thing as losing self, essentially, is what I want to say. Losing yourself, you can always rebuild yourself, you can always choose yourself in any given moment. So even if you are at a point where, say, you did betray yourself, you are not being responsible for your life and are making maybe harmful or slightly careless decisions that go against your personal growth and your personal path of self-love, that does not matter, because at the end of the day, in any point of your life right now, you have a choice, and that choice can and always will and should be you. And that's that, really. I don't know. And it's so powerful when you get there, because when you get to that point, because you realize anything you've been searching for a lover to give you, a friend to give you, whether that be understanding, compassion, or some validation, some attention, any of that you can give to yourself. And I will always stand for that message, and nobody can take that from me. And I've never searched for love, but I'm done even keeping an eye out for it, because sometimes I think to myself, oh, what if like this not that this could be the one, but what if this is a good one and I don't want to miss him? Like, I don't want to miss him or dismiss him. But frankly, like, it doesn't matter if I dismiss him. Like, I will always be devoted and dedicated to me and in a loyal relationship with myself before anyone else. And I don't really give a fuck if another man loves me or not, however deeply or shallow or lustfully they love me or don't. It doesn't make a fucking difference to me, because I will always choose not to love somebody else, as in, like, at least romantically speaking. My friends and certain members of my family, nature and my career and the things that I do and create, that I will pour every ounce of love into, all the while being well aware of the fact that those things will not be permanent in my life. These people will not stay in my life forever, or they can leave at any point, and they have that freedom too, and that is so beautiful. And the only person I'm always ever traveling with is myself, and how can I ever betray that? I try to, and even that doesn't work, you know. There's no such thing as betrayal, because betrayal is a choice, but then revival is also a choice, and there's nothing to fear, as long as you're aware that you are the source, and you are the source that water and love flows from, and you don't need to search for water in the external world, which could be a desert or could be a forest. It doesn't matter, because that source is with you and in you. And before I start saying any other cringy stuff, I shall leave it at that. And I just also wanted to say that the things I create might be varied and won't resonate with everyone, and I'm not making any promises to satiate anyone's desire or satiate anyone's expectation of my content being a certain way. So sometimes I might do this kind of shit that some people like and some people don't, and I might make short films that might seem cringy, slow, boring, or beautiful, and or I might make whatever the fuck else I want to do, and I'm just gonna do that, and I hope that's alright. And I'm not asking for permission, I'm just making a what's the word for it? Yeah, just making a point that that's how it's gonna be, and that's that. I have so much love for everyone and everything, no matter what we've done and no matter where we're going, and how we will end up, where we will end up. It doesn't matter, because we have so much love to give and so much love to share, and we are love, and we just need to choose to see that, because the things we do and have not done do not define us, and we're beyond anything that we do anyway. I'll shut the fuck up. Oh my god, I'll shut up. Always stay authentically you, in my opinion. That's the only way to... I'll just shut up.